Hey everybody, this is Nem, and we're going to have a little bit of a complain session. I hope you're ready. I want to talk about the mental state of the players in the ultimate raiding scene because it's not good. It's not good. You have like two types of players, more or less. And I want to talk to you about this because I am stuck in through PF. I'm stuck at Enrage, and it is not pretty. It is not pretty at all. I'm going to pull up some stuff real quick. Let's actually upload the log real quick here. Let's just upload the log and take a look at it about what I just went through. But we're going to go through, and I'm going to mute the BGM. Hold on. So I'm a little pissed today. And this has been going on for weeks and weeks and weeks of just PFing every single day, trying to get my clear, not just for like an hour, but for like 8 hours a day, which is pretty excessive. Sometimes up to 16 hours in a day trying to get this clear. And I outperform everybody. Everybody. Like, I can say that without even a hint of sarcasm, that in my groups, I outperform everybody. I'm most consistent every single time. So let's take a look at this. And this is basically how it goes, right? I get into a group, right? And there's some consistent and good players in here, right? But for the most part, it's people who have cleared and they just keep memeing. Now, this is just a green parse. It is what it is. But let's take a look here, right? We have players like Euphrasia Ferrothal, right? Euphrasia Ferrothal. If we duplicate this, right? What we have is a favorite player who gets purples, blah, blah, blah. Let's take a look. White Mage has cleared this fight quite a few times. Should probably know what they're doing, right? Should probably know what they're doing. And yet, let me grab a video just to outline just how bad and how, I don't know, selfish some of these players be. They will join your party that is a clear, right? A clear for one, maybe, in this case. And they will do the dumbest shit imaginable. Right? So let's fast forward. And let's just watch. So keeping in mind, I'm a player who has practiced and done this fight 8 hours a day, every day, for over a month. Right? And that's not my full prog. That's just cleared. That's my 0.1%, saw 0.1% and started grinding to be like, okay, I've seen 0.1%. Let's get this shit done. 1 month. Right? I've seen 0.1% 6 times. I've seen Enrage 21 times, right? In that time. And then I just watch a bunch of people fuck up pretty much 8 hours a day. You know, and I will usually make 1 mistake in 100 pulls. On the occasional off day, it's 2 mistakes in 100 pulls. And they're usually like, oh, I fucked up P1 on accident, or oh, I fucked up, you know, P2. Sometimes, rarely, P4, and there was 1 single instance of a P5 mistake. 1 in a month. 1 P5 mistake in 30 days at 8 hours a day. All right, at minimum. So that's saying a lot. Now, if we go to, let's see, this is the start of P4. We find these healers who do the dumbest shit possible. So let's rewind a little. Because what we have is we have 2 types of players. We have players who are too dependent on add-ons, too dependent on other people's behavior or call-outs, right? People that are not self-sufficient, that have been carried, right? Carried by the effort of others. And then you have people who, their egos get in the way, where they would rather, instead of sacrifice a GCD, they would rather wipe the party and not pay attention. They autopilot. They say, well, I always do this one thing, always get away with it, and now all of a sudden I didn't get away with it. That's not my fault. And it's like, it is your fault. You didn't pay attention to the people around you. You just had to back up a step before using your GCD and would have been fine. But you wiped the group because you're selfish, right? So in this case, we have a pull. We have a pull where there is a massive HP difference in P4. Now you have to keep them within like 5%, right? So we see at 80%, Oracle of Darkness here, 75, 74, 73. Let's see if we can catch the HP to 70. It's a 30% difference at this point. No one's paying attention to this, right? I tab over and I'm like, oh my God. I'll use my AoE dot, right? Just trying to do the mechanic real quick, swap back. And here we have a huge difference. And then someone decides to say, hey, actually HP, it's like too little too late. You have to pay attention before this point, right? Well, actually it's not. Like I've had groups come back from 30% in a shorter amount of time than this, but this group is not that group. This group is not the goated group that can do the damage. So what ends up happening, we fast forward a little bit, right? And long story short, warrior dies to make it happen, right? Now, HPs are very high as well. Like someone in this group just is not pressing their buttons. It's the samurai. They also died. They also have weakness, right? So that's a huge problem. That's the first problem, right? So we have a samurai. They greet a lot of GCDs. They don't perform that well. They're trying to help. But realistically, like when it comes to P5, where like all they have to do is back up a step, you know, and kudos to Kai. He tried to make up for his mistakes. But if he didn't have such an ego to begin with, he wouldn't have made them. You know what I mean? Where like we had a P5 pull and they just decided to run into a tank because I always can run into a tank. Like, what are you talking about? The tank? Just stop. Use your eyes, you know? It's a clear for one. And people have this parse brain mentality. But then you have these healers, right? Where like you have a healer here. I've been at this with this group for hours at this point. And this is a healer who got water debuff. Everybody knows water cleanses on 3. I have stack marker. I cleanse on B, right? Long story short, guess what the water player does? Guess what the water player tries to do, right? Oh, see my puddle? Why are you going for my puddle? Why are you trying to pick up my puddle? You don't... What? Why are you here right now? You know what I mean? This is not your puddle. This is not even close to your puddle. And guess what? Look, who got it? Them. They stole it. What do I have to do in this situation? I come up here and I steal their puddle and get out of the AoE. But like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Right? What are you doing? You've cleared this a bajillion times. You got to lock in. You're like, I'm going to help this guy get his clear. And then you end up wasting his time. And don't get me wrong, like little mistakes happen. Everybody has an off day, an off pull or whatever, right? But this is a group. This is a group where I'm like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Do you not know CT? Because you don't, right? Guess what? This is a wipe. And the problem is that you have these players, same with the tanks. These tanks were very cocky. They were saying, oh, I can do this on Marauder. I have a Marauder clear. This Dark Knight, like literally, oh, we're going to come in and help. And all they end up doing is wasting your time. That's it. You know what they waste your time on? I'll tell you what they waste your time on. I'll show you. This is what they waste your time on. 0.1% wipe. And you want to know why? I can track down exactly why this is happening. Right? Mid-pull. LOL. Anything for you? Now that's true love. I'm saying, Meow B, Unga Bunga, you're so good to me. Mid-pull, right? I forgot which marker to go to. For ice. I'm not gonna lie, I popped food before we instant, so it's falling off. Like you can see, they're very jovial. They're very goofing around. But what they're not doing is helping. You know what I mean? They came in here, and instead of taking it a little bit seriously, like, you know, this guy listed in his PF, he's seen this a million times. Let's try and help him. They're just in it for the fun and for the ego, and they don't really care about whose time they waste in the process. And we have more really fun quotes from them. It's all coming back to me in P4. Why are you in my group if you weren't ready to clear? What, like, it's a clear for one, man. It's a clear, like I'm saying I'm desperately trying to get this done. I need people who know what they're doing. Please stop wasting my time, because it's 8 hours a day, every day minimum. And it always ends the same way. One person screws it up. The group disbands. They say, Sarnam, you've got this. And I say, I know I've got this. You don't have this. It's you. It's you guys, you know? Get your stuff together. Like in some of these groups I stick with for like 30 minutes, an hour. Sometimes it's the full 8 hours with the same group. It depends. But they all let me down exactly the same way. And it's just really obnoxious that, like, they're spending all this time. I have no idea what my rotation is. Can you guess which pull wiped to 0.1%? Could it possibly be the one where both tanks were underperforming in DPS severely because they had no idea what to do? Could it be the pull where the off tank doesn't know that light tether has a tank bait? Even though they've cleared dozens of times? Why are you wasting my time? Right? So these players are garbage. Not every player in this group is garbage, right? Some of them did very, very well. Some of them were very kind, respectful, and gave their time, and I appreciate that so much. But the ones that come in here, like both these tanks, this healer, right? Possibly this other healer. I don't really remember this other healer. They kind of stayed quiet. But these three goofballs, at least, immediate blacklist. Because, like, man, I don't know about you, but I'm trying really hard at this. My mistakes are like 1 in a million. You know what I mean? 1 in a million. And I'm sitting here, I'm consistent on my damage, consistently top DPS for the entire fight, every single phase. And you want to come in here and joke around and goof around. Look at this one, like first pull. First pull, you know what they wiped to? Just not midding. Look at this. So this guy's got a damage down, everyone's at 4 stacks. We did not lose to the mechanic. We didn't. This guy jumps into the wall like an idiot, right? Because he needs to get rid of his damage down, which he shouldn't have, right? And then what happens? What happens? Let's take a look at the mitigation list here. Absolute zero is coming up. We need to mitigate, res, and heal. We have a res. Are they going to accept it? Are they going to accept it? We have an addle. They're typing in the chat instead of accepting their res that has been on them for 7 seconds. Take away about 4 seconds because it takes some time to load on your screen. And we say, where's the mitt? Where's the shields from Ash? We have a little bit of shield on some people. What's going on? Oh, we have faint, right? Does the other tank not want to... Sorry, I don't know how I skipped to here. Does the other tank not want to use reprisal? I can't believe I just lost that. Anyways, we wiped to that AoE. That is exactly what happens. Here we go. We wipe this AoE right after House of Light. Just because... Wow, I guess I really can't fast forward. Anyways, yeah. We wipe to healers just not midding, and this tank just decides I'm not going to reprisal. Right? That's literally all it is. They don't know what they're doing. Busy typing, not accepting res, absolute zero comes up. The melee DPS does a great job. He faints. I addle, fantastic. What are the other 4 supports doing? Nothing. And it's like, man, you guys are so garbage, you know? Like, I hate people like this, that they have this big ego, like they know what they're doing, and then they just go waste other people's time, you know? It's toxic. You're going to wipe a group over GCD on purpose. You're going to wipe a group because, oh, I got a damage down, let's retry so I get a good parse. Bro, I don't care about your parse, you know? You're supposed to be here to help me, not help yourself. Pretending you're here to help me, but really using me for a parse is shitty behavior. And that's what I hate about the upper ultimate rating scene is like, you've got a lot of people like this. You've got a lot of people like this. Just garbage players who are disrespectful, waste your time. And then when you call them out on it, when you say, guys, you know, not even in a hostile way, I'll just be like, do you know CT? Do you know CT? You guys are memeing. Y'all are memeing. That got an instant party disband. No apology. No, yeah, you're right. Sorry for wasting your time. They just fucking disband. And it's like, man, you guys are what's wrong with Party Finder. And that's why it's just this revolving door of these 2 types of players. High ego, unwilling to actually take it seriously. Because they can perform if they took it seriously. But they're so busy trying to optimize their rotation and get like the perfect parse right off the bat, trying to remember the mechanics too, like, which you'd think would be directly, you know, in in a conflict with each other. I'm trying to get a good parse, but I really don't remember what I'm doing. You're going to come in and waste my time. And this is a repeat thing to the point where, like, I don't know what to do, man. I don't know what to do. I have seen all manner of players in this Party Finder. So many. And there's some great people out there, but they are few and far between. Actually helpful. They come to perform. When they make a mistake, they apologize, right? That's usually just common courtesy. Like, hey, I fucked up. I own that. You know, and sometimes even this is why it happened. Just to say, I know why it happened. It won't happen again. Like real genuine people. And that, like, as much as it pisses me off that people come in and they meme in the 11th hour, I can understand for it to a degree. But what I can't understand for is that you just unapologetically come in and waste people's time. And you just meme and wipe and mistake and mistake and mistake. And they're not like accidents. They're careless or they're greed. Like, man, I really need this parse and I will wipe the group for it. I don't give a fuck. Like those kind of mistakes, like I don't have patience for that. That's so disrespectful to everybody's time. When someone's working really hard and you just use them for an opportunity to get an easy totem and a parse, like, bro, and you are instantly blacklisted, man. That's just fucking shitty behavior, you know? And that's it. You know, there's a lot of people getting carried and through, but I seem to be uncarryable despite not being the one making mistakes, but despite being top DPS every pull, being consistent as fuck, you know? I'm not perfect by any means, but goddamn, am I outperforming the groups that I'm in. And I just wish, you know, that like some kind, benevolent players that are actually trying to clear, and if you're doing like clear for ones, actually trying to help, like actually take that seriously, you know, that they had like some good, you know, desire in their heart to join those groups. Like I would love for people to be genuine about that. And so it's extremely disappointing when they're not, you know. And there are people who've been helping me, you know. People jump into PF and they're crying with me. They're like, there's no way we just keep getting people like this. Yeah, it's wild, you know. It's wild. So I just wanted to make a little bit of a complaining video, a little bit of this is bullshit, call out some of these terrible high ego players, and you know, just explain like what the experience is like and why like this fight isn't that hard, but that has caused people to not take it seriously, and then they just waste your time all day, every day, you know. And then I go to my static, and you know, they're struggling as well, where I'm like, right, you know, just all day, every day, everyone's unable to do this relatively easy fight, you know, and it's frustrating. Because at the end of the day, like there's a very clear solution to the difficulty. If you're a player who struggles with it, you're not helpless, you're not hopeless, right? You have to put in some genuine grind and work equal to whatever your needs are. And you can study and you can grind and you can continue at your own pace as long as you need to get there. You can do the work, you know, but you've got to do the work. You've got to do the study. You've got to figure this shit out. And you can't just put that burden on your friends or your static or whatever, right? Like you are one of the most important members of your own team. You've got to put in that work. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, if you're a player that struggles, it's in your hands to unstruggle, especially supports. Supports have the easiest time, you know, because supports, it's static. What spells you cast, what mitigations and where is very static. Once, like after, you know, the first couple weeks of the fight being out, it's static. It's written down. There are logs of exactly what spells to cast when, so that you can study it and know the whole thing. DPS by nature is a little bit more experimental. You're working with your spell speed, or you're not your spell speed, skill speed. You're kind of figuring out your latency, and you're figuring out how best to get comfortable to fit these very long openers and rotations, right, into and reopeners that are very, very long, right? Especially on jobs like Black Mage, where you're like, all right, you know, there's like a million different options for what I could do here. I have to figure out what is the best one and the most consistent one every time. And like, then when you're performing on that, like it takes some focus, right? It takes some focus. And you have these healers that just like, they don't know when they're supposed to mit. And you're like, man, if you just did your homework, if you just looked at the mit sheet and looked at a log and took the time to tell yourself, I'm going to know when to mit, no one has to tell you that. You know what I mean? No, you don't have to wipe a group for 2 months straight figuring that out. That's just something you need to do. You know what I mean? I actually forgot I need a shield healer. So 7 out of 8 static, 0.1% enrage, need shield healer. 9:30. Boom. So yeah, that is all. That's the other thing. Like just having people call out all the time is crazy as well, where it's just like, man, like you have a responsibility to this group and you are just shirking it. That really bothers me a lot, because like when you give someone your word you're going to do something, like you need to do your best. And I have people who call out every week, you know, they're like, I'm not going to make it. Why? Because I had a bad day. And you're like, all right, you had a bad day, but every day's a bad day. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. This happened. Well, you know, there's just excuses. It's like, man, we do need you here. You're like, well, look how close we are to clearing, and you're holding people back. Like, we can't depend on you. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where it's very frustrating. It's been a very frustrating ultimate for me to be a raid leader. There's been many challenges to the point where like I've been broken of my ability to, you know, be positive and to bring people together. Like my leadership qualities have just dumped into a hole in the ground where I'm like, I don't know, and like I've tried everything. I'm burnt out of trying to like get other people to get them to meet their own goals. They can't, they won't push themselves to do it, or if they do, they like choke, you know what I mean? They choke over and over and over again, and I just don't know what to do. You know, like I've exhausted my knowledge of leadership, and I have nobody supporting, you know, me and getting them there. No one helping me like, well, try this and try this, or I'll do this for you, you know, it's just a lot of just me like trying to drag a bunch of people across the finish line, basically. I don't know. I think everyone's kind of tired and everyone's burnt out and static. And then in PF, it's just a shit show as well, where it is difficult to remain positive, because at the end of the day, like this isn't something that it's not like a Ninja Gaiden. You know, when I'm playing like a Ninja Gaiden game and I'm playing on like Master Ninja and it's this crazy trial that takes like, you know, hours and hours and hours, and like the stars have to align. And when the stars align in that RNG moment, that window of opportunity opens, then you have to play like a god in that window to get the clear. You know what I mean? That's extremely frustrating. But the entire time, it's like, it's in my power. I just have to keep trying and I have to execute, you know? And it's this thing that it's like an almost impossible wall you can get over it, you know? But when it comes to like ultimate, right? Not the entire team doesn't have that mindset. They're not sitting there saying, I can get over this wall. They're just not doing it, not putting in the work. I'm not going to PF. I'm not going to practice. I'm not going to study. You know what I mean? I'm going to come and just ask you questions, and I'm going to come unprepared, and I'm not going to watch guides, and I'm not going to work on my rotation. I'm not going to do anything. You know, I'll do some simming. Is usually what it comes down to. But simming isn't a replacement for all these things, you know? Like you're an important member of the team, and every member of the team needs to have that Ninja Gaiden mindset, you know? That Ninja Gaiden, like, I'm going to get past this, whatever it takes, and I'm going to go above and beyond and just work as hard as I can to be the best so that I'm not the problem. I'm not the person holding the group back. I'm the one lifting them up, you know? And the problem is you can only lift up for so long before you get, like you're going to get tired, you know what I mean? And I need more people on the team lifting the group up. And some have tried, and some do it successfully. Like on our right team, we have Ari. Ari has been a source of positivity. He knows that I can't be positive anymore. And he's been filling that gap for me. And I appreciate that so much, you know. He's been working hard to do a good job. He's been understanding and patient, you know. And I need more people working as hard as Ari, you know. And then in PF, if you're going to help, if you're going to actually help, you know, don't use clear for ones as a derust opportunity. You know what I mean? You're wasting people's time. You know, you're wasting their time. I need someone. I'm not expecting like a one pull wonder to clear, but I am expecting like knowing your rotation and having done the mechanics recently, you know, like being confident, like and not overly confident, not false confident, but like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I know I can help this guy. I can genuinely help this guy, you know, and then backing it up with action. And unfortunately, like that's just not the case, you know. It's usually support players. In Fru, I think support players are just realizing that they're not very good and they have to be carried. In P5 in particular is just the support struggle, and like it's not that difficult what they're doing. Tanks have a tank swap, they have another tank swap, and they have to stand in the tower, stand in the middle, and then they have to flip flop if the wings change on the next one. Like it's not like it's not the most difficult thing in the world. DSR is much harder than Fru on that front, you know, and I'm looking at tanks who have cleared DSR and have cleared Fru, and they can't do Fru tank towers, you know. And not just one mistake, but like 2 mistake, 3 mistake, 4 mistake, 5 mistake, 6 mistake. No apologies, no cleaning it up, no hey, you know, whatever. It's just I'm derusting, is what it is, and then just, you know, memes and wipes and stuff. And like, man, I don't know how to work with that, you know. I really don't know how to work with that. But yeah, that's the state. That's kind of why I get frustrated with PF. A lot of people deleting their BIS and just coming in and expecting you to carry them as well. And you're like, dude, I'm the one who hasn't cleared it. You want me to make up for your slack. Like, I need you not to slack. I need you to be a valuable member of the team, you know? And right now you're just kind of wasting everyone's time. It's unfortunate. There's been a lot of positive people sending me like DMs and stuff when they see my PFs. Like, you got this, Nem, you know, hang in there. And I really appreciate that too, you know, because I am so I am doom and gloom to such a level right now, because it's just, how long is this going to go on for? How long are people going to waste my time? And like, I'm okay if you like waste my time. Some people have wasted my time immensely. And then they come in and they apologize and they give me an explanation like, man, honestly, I was more tired than I thought. I need a rest. I've been at this all day. Like, hey, man, I'm not going to hate you for that. I totally get it. You're human. You know, you meant to help and you ended up like being really tired and you didn't really recognize it in time. Like, that happens, man. That happens to me. I made a mistake today because of that. And I had to like slap myself in the face. I was like, wake up, Nem, wake up. You got to perform. You know what I mean? And, you know, then I started playing well, you know, and accidents happen. Accidents happen too. And like, some of them are totally understandable. And other accidents are just, it's the careless ones. It's the ones that like, if you were trying harder, if you were paying attention, it wouldn't have happened. But some mistakes are like, yeah, I was trying hard. I was paying attention, but like I slipped up. It's like, oh yeah, slip ups happen. I pressed the wrong button. I accidentally jumped into an exaflare, or like I accidentally hit my picto dash at the wrong, like I know not to dash there. It's not a knowledge check. My hand just slipped and hit the wrong key. That happens, man. I don't get mad about that, you know? Total mistake. But when you come in and you're like, I'm going to help you, and you're just here to derust and waste my time, or to giggle and goof off and not focus and then wipe over and over, like you're the cause of the wipes. Sorry, man. Like, you're immature, you know, you're immature and you're disrespectful to people's time. And not just mine. Like, there are good people in my PFs helping, giving their time, and it's their time as too. It's not just my time. Like, they're giving their time to help, and they're watching like a bunch of asshats like just wipe due to carelessness and goofing off the whole time. It's not fair to them either. You know, this isn't all just the person who needs to clear, but like a lot of people are coming together to sacrifice their time to work towards something. There should be some general level of respect for each other, I think, and it's just not there, you know. And so we kick those people and we blacklist them. In this case, the what happened with this healer that I called out is that I was the party leader, and they were like, I've got my tank friends coming. I've invited my tank. Give me party lead. Doesn't give party lead back. And then when I call them out, like, you guys are memeing. I didn't even like get toxic or hostile. I was just like, man, you guys are memeing, right? Just disbands the group. Doesn't say anything. And it's like, man, you are so fragile. Your ego is fragile. You're fragile. You're underperforming. The least you could do is own up to it and apologize. And then I'd be like, hey, cool, man. Accidents happen. Yeah, I just forgot there. I don't know what I was thinking. Cool. No problem. I appreciate you letting me know, you know? Because then it's like, at least you mean well. But man, these guys, they're just selfish, you know? Really selfish. So anyways, that's my soapbox. Do you have any familiar experiences related to what I said? Have you been in my PFs? Have I made fun of you? Sorry about that. Hopefully not. Hopefully you've been one of the friendly ones who mean well, you know? And honestly, some people have made mistakes that are selfish, and then they've tried to go back and fix it later. I appreciate that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you shouldn't have done that, but you know what? You stuck by. You stuck around to try and make up for that. You know, like Kai, the samurai, you know? He really put his best foot forward there, and I appreciate that a lot. But at the same time, like, you know, there's other people. Other people, not so much, you know? You got this player who's like the only Marauder clear in Fru, and they're just fucking around. Like, they don't care, man. They don't care about your time. And then you're like, dude, whatever. So we will continue the grind, and we will eventually get this done, because it's not a hard fight. I'm more than ready to clear, obviously. Consistent performance. Just about every pull. Occasionally fucking up. 2 fuck-ups today, which is a lot.